Hey guys, welcome to Interviews with Success Stories. I'm really honored to bring my good friend Darren Jacklin here. Now, Darren Jacklin has just an incredible story of overcoming adversity that I'm going to let him share with you. I'll tell you how we met. I was actually at sort of a rock bottom moment in my life where I'd just been through it at this certain point. And Darren was one of the first people to reach out to me, and he really connected and he gave me inspiration. He just showed me how to believe in myself again. And he taught me a whole bunch of things, from managing my finances to how to connect with people and how to believe in myself and how to just get out and be more socially active. And through the years, he's just continued to be a mentor and a coach, not just to myself, but to literally millions of people. Like, if you don't know about Darren Jacklin, he's a corporate speaker, corporate trainer, professional speaker. He's literally trained about 1 million or over 1 million people around the world. And he's a best-selling author, a co-author. And, I'm going to let Darren sort of introduce himself and give you a little bit about his story. And I'm hoping that you can really pick up how he was able to overcome adversity, so that if you're ever going through adversity, you know that, there's someone out there who has done it before. So go ahead, Darren, and maybe you can just get us a little bit about where you started to where you are right now.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm grateful to be here, and thanks for inviting me here to the beautiful Pan Pacific Hotel here in downtown Vancouver, Canada. It's beautiful here.
Yeah.
And, my journey started in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, Canada, when I grew up as a kid. In elementary school, in grade 1, I was labeled with a learning disability and a reading disability, and I was challenged in school. And so I failed grade 1 at public school, and when I was in grade 1, my older sister died at age 4 of a heart transplant failure. And I also had an older brother who was 6 years of age. And so it devastated the family of a death of a child in the family. And so I had failed grade 1, was set back from a learning disability, reading disability, repeated grade 1, and then went through elementary school in a special needs educational program, and struggled in school with low self-esteem, low self-worth as a young child. Was put on a drug called Ritalin, and throughout my elementary school, I really struggled with my life and my identity as a young little boy of who I was. By the time I was 7 years of age, I decided I wanted to go out there and be in my community of Swift Current, Saskatchewan. So I went out and I created a little company called Rent-A-Kid. And in my little Rent-A-Kid business, I would go out and cut grass, I would shovel sidewalks, deliver newspapers, and I got attention from being around the neighborhood and the community. And throughout school, I had my little business where I was doing little things, little projects, and then going to school. Then I got into junior high school. I felt socially awkward. I felt aloof at times. I felt invisible. And I just didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't fit into this academic school system model. And so going throughout school was a challenge, and I eventually got into high school and was in grade 11 education. One day, a guidance counselor and a school teacher came out and sat me down one day, and they said, based on your marks in school, your report card, you're not going to go far in life. And so I was labeled a throwaway kid. And that's what they labeled me in grade 11, was a throwaway. And they said, based on where I'm at right now, my performance, my results, I'm not going to probably graduate from high school. And so I got creative, and I found different girls in school that were straight A students. And I always knew as a kid, I'm not going to be the smartest kid in class or the best in class. If I go out and work, they can always hire the smart kids in class or the best in class kids.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to be the smartest kid in class, but I could hire the smartest kid in class. And that was my mindset in high school. And so I hired the girls that were straight A academic students to do all my homework and my assignments and leveraging, team building, things like that, which in school is called cheating. And I would give them money and buy them lipstick and jewelry and things like that to make the girls look fashionable in school. Graduated from high school with a grade point average of 57%. I always say to people, I got my PhD, my public high school diploma, and then I left Swift Current, Saskatchewan, moved out to Vernon, British Columbia, Canada, in the Okanagan Valley, and I struggled. I struggled with my self-worth, my self-esteem, and my late teens, early 20s, I did multiple suicide attempts to end my life. And it was very low points in my life. And then I remember one day I made a bunch of money over a period of time, and my dad helped me out with some investments, and I was involved in a major car crash and a rollover, and so I received an insurance settlement from the insurance corporation about 18 months later. And I had met two gentlemen at a birthday party one day, and they had a startup business opportunity. This is back in the early 1990s. And I was excited. I got really elated.
Yeah.
I didn't know what fact-finding or discovery or due diligence was. And so I went out and I co-signed these business loans for these gentlemen on all their businesses. And I was so excited. I went to the bank one day and got them several thousands of dollars in cash. pulled the money out of the Royal Bank of Canada and went and put it into a paper bag from a grocery store, and out in the parking lot gave him cash. And 120 days later, the bank called a demand loan. And for those of you watching or in finance, or you read the small print on legal contracts, there's a thing called a GSA. And I didn't know what GSA meant, but it stands for General Security Agreement. And if you read the small print on financial contracts, the banks and financial institutions have a thing called a GSA, called a General Security Agreement. Well, I didn't read that small fine print. And what happened was, when they weren't paying the loans back in the early 1990s, when the collection calls came in and the collection demand letters came in, it didn't come to my mailing address, or I didn't get the phone calls. This is back in the days when we had landlines and snail mail. The collection calls are going to the other address where the guys give me I give the money to.
Yeah.
So I wasn't in the loop in communication in regards to the breakdown, in regards to what was going on with the collection calls and the demand letters. So one day I was at my home. It was a Saturday morning. Got a knock on my door, and it was a bailiff. And he showed up and he says, "Are you Darren Jacklin?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're being served." Wow. And he tapped me physically on my body, and these papers dropped, these legal documents. And I said, "What's this about?" And he says, "We're repossessing your car." And I said, "Well, I own my car. I don't have any outstanding parking tickets, or, my insurance is up to date. And, I'm in good standing. I'm in integrity." And they said, "Well, read the documents." So I read the documents, which is legal jargon I didn't understand at the time, and realized that I was the co-signer, and they were about to take over. So they take my car away. They froze my bank account. I got evicted from where I was living. And I ended up going on the streets for a few months, living on welfare. So during the daytime, I would go out and I would, do whatever I could to survive, to make money. And then at nighttime, I would come back and sleep in the apple orchard at Davis Orchards in Vernon, British Columbia, Canada, where you're from, on Bella Vista Road there. And that's what I did for a few months. And so I remember my first day walking into the welfare office and just being totally terrified, and knew I didn't want to be here. And so I went from there to getting into Toastmasters in Dale Carnegie, and then found that I could really, transform my life through personal professional growth and development. Yeah. And that's where I started from there. And today, now 20 years later, I've trained over 1 million people, as you said. I've been training now in 45 countries and 4 continents, and trained over 157 Fortune 500 companies. So I look at myself now as a transformational leader, because there's informative learning and there's transformational learning. Wow. Informative learning is where we go to school, we memorize things, we do tests and exams. Yeah. Transformational learning is that you don't know what you don't know, and where that is that you show people, firstly, how to transform by getting the life that they want. That's right. And the performance and the results.
Wow, that is such an inspiring story. Now, when you were at your rock bottom, that's a heavy hit. Homeless, living in an orchard. What were the emotions? What were the feelings? Because maybe someone's here and maybe they're going through a lot of feelings of guilt or shame, or I screwed up or something like that. Like, you must have had a lot of inner turmoil going on at that time. So what were the tools? Look, that was a big jump. You went, well, I was living in this orchard all of a sudden, Dale Carnegie, and boom. There's a dash in the middle there, and so that's where it gets real. What were the emotions? How did you overcome that? What were your steps? What was your rock? What did you hold on to?
Sure. Well, when I was rock bottom, and I've been there a few times, it's just surviving day to day is the biggest thing. Can I get through the next hour? Yeah. Is the biggest thing, because for myself, I was hungry. I was hungry not only to want to succeed, but I was hungry in terms of food. Yeah. Right? And I was embarrassed. I didn't want to disappoint my family. I was embarrassed with my family. I felt a lot of resentment. I was a lot of internal turmoil of self-talk, beating up myself. I felt that I didn't get things right. Yeah. Why can't I manage things? I screwed up. I made lots of mistakes. So all this internal dialogue of self-talk, defeating was a big thing. I had a big whole committee, or a big stadium of voices in my head. So there's that. And then also the ego. The ego of embarrassing my family and people I know, and having to deal with that. And then also, when you're not feeling good, it's, when you go out to ask somebody to help you, or, you're looking to apply for a job, I didn't have that inner confidence. Yeah. I wasn't on my game, my purpose. And so I took it day by day, but and it was interesting because I at times I didn't know if I was going to make another day. Yeah. I didn't know that. And so all I knew is I had to keep taking action. It's kind of like the Great Wall of China. It's built brick by brick by brick by brick. Today it's a beautiful masterpiece. Yeah. And so through a lot of perseverance, mental toughness, and mindset and focus, just going. And what I did was, back in those days when I didn't have the tools like I have today, I knew that I had to be in action. Yeah. Was the biggest thing, right? Action. action, because procrastination is also an activity. I learned that from experience. Procrastination is an activity.
Yeah.
Right? And I also knew, too, that when I was involved in drama or my own story, or I was playing the role of the victim or poor me, when I was doing that, it was taking me away from what I really needed to do.
Yeah.
It was really the focus of me moving forward. And I would go to the public library, and I would get books on successful people, biographies, autobiographies, and
Yeah.
start to train my mindset. And I got around different places. Like, we're in a beautiful, opulent hotel here today, right, doing this interview. And I know now is that whenever if I'm having a down day or something's not working, I will go and change my environment. And because environment is stronger than willpower.
Say that again?
Environment is stronger than willpower.
Wow.
Your environment is stronger than your willpower. And so you've got to get around environments that support you and bring you up. That's the key thing, is your environment. Everywhere you go, from listening to beautiful music to being around people who multiply and expand your energy versus contract your energy. Because you got to look at, you're either expanding or we're contracting.
Yeah.
And so and also another big thing is I learned is that, it's not about me. I lived in my head for many years. And when I live in my head, there's no empowerment. Where I'm empowered is that when I'm out there serving other people, being a go-giver, not a go-getter.
That's huge.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I realized that when I was out there making a difference, helping, serving, supporting other people's lives, then I would get whatever I want. Whenever I got in my head and I started to beat up myself, self-sabotage, then results got worse.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was a big thing for me.
Wow. So you started, you hear this a lot from people who have had a lot of success. Just start reading books. Okay, if is there like maybe a top handful of books that you would recommend without a hesitation that would really make a powerful difference in people's lives?
Sure. Yeah. A great book is called The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clayson.
Okay.
Classical book. How to Win Friends, Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Classic book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Classic book. And, these are classic books. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill is a classic book as well. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, another classical book. The Celestine Prophecy is a great book as well. These are great books. And I've read a number of books over the years. And I'm a big reader to this day as well. And what I focus on is reading 10 pages a day.
Yeah.
And this is something I was taught probably 15, 20 years ago. That if you read 10 pages a day times 365 days in a calendar year, that's 3,650 pages, which is equivalent to 12 to 15 books cover to cover in a calendar year.
Yeah.
Right? So easy to do, easy not to do, but the definition of doing it is just small, daily, consistent, actionable steps, consistently compounded over a period of time.
Wow.
And so what I've learned now when it comes to success is that, when I sit down with a lot of influential people, first thing I ask them is that, tell me about your first 3 hours of your day.
Yeah.
What's the first 3 hours of your day look like? What's the first hour, the first 90 minutes? I really want to look at, show me if I was a fly on the wall in your home, in your office, right? If I was a fly on the wall, what would your first 3 hours of your day look like?
Yeah.
And because success leaves clues. So it shows me what high performance men and women do in terms of success leaving clues.
Wow.
Right? Because there's certain things that people who are not achieving or succeeding that they do in the day, to people who are achieving things that they do different things. And the thing is, to achieve wealth or success, you don't have to be really smart.
Yeah.
Right? What I learned was sales, marketing, negotiations, and how to build personal relationships with people. And that was it, because we're in the people business. Right? We're dealing with human beings.
That's right.
And human beings make mistakes and we screw up. And I've learned that we're either coming from a problem in life, we're in a problem, or we're heading towards a problem. And that success is a series of well-managed failures. Yeah. And so if you're out there trying to do things right all the time, it's not going to work. You're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The key thing is to just go out there and just keep doing it and persevering. And there's no guarantee. Right? I've put in thousands of hours to get to where I am today. People may see me on the stage or they see me in an interview and think, oh my gosh, you're so polished, you're so good at what you do. But I didn't start there. There's many days where I would practice in front of the mirror and do mirror work and feel sick and want to throw up and all these kinds of things that I went through.
Wow.
But I had the courage to just keep going. And I guess where I'm at now is people say, oh my gosh, what you do is that I'm maniacal. Maniacal means that I'm obsessed with training and development. Whereas most people, it's convenience. When it's convenient, they'll read the book. When it's convenient, they'll take the class. When it's convenient, they'll get the mentor. When it's convenient, they have to get the promotion or the raise, or they're interested in some guy or girl and they want to date that person. They got to level up or skill up. Then they'll go read that book or take that class or take that course.
Yeah.
It's out of convenience. Right? I meet many people when I train them in corporations. They'll say, I want to get this promotion or raise or better performance evaluation. So I'll take the class now if the company's paying for it, right? But the thing is that when you are not reason, you're obsessed with that. It's like kind of like wax on, wax off karate kid. When you're obsessed with your training development, that's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That it's how you live your life. Your results will change.
Wow.
And that's a difference. Is that it's not a convenience. It's non-negotiable. I focus all the time.
Wow. So what was that? I mean, that's just super inspiring. I mean, I hope you're getting a lot of value from what he's been saying because, I mean, this is world-class stuff. But, there's still this question about what was it, or when was it, when, you decided or realized that there was something different or special, unique about you, that you had that value to offer the world. Because, I mean, based on where you came from to where you are now, there must have been this switch. Was it a book? Was it a word? Like, what was it?
I was in a Toastmasters International class one night.
Okay.
In Vernon, British Columbia, Canada. I was sitting there one night, and it was in the month of January, and there was a lady in a Sue Urquhart, and this lady, I was terrified of public speaking. I had low self-worth, low self-esteem. I was there just to build my confidence in the Toastmasters class one night in a club meeting, and I did an educational speech that night, and I was very scared. And so I had thrown up in the bathroom earlier that night in the hotel. I was in the stall. I was scared. I was terrified.
Wow.
And I was just terrified of getting out there and talking about myself. Because think about this. How often do you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go out and talk to strangers today and share my life, what's really going on in my life? What's really going on in my life?
Yeah.
Right? How often do you do that?
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
So, you don't wake up and say, I'm going to talk and share my life openly, authentically with strangers.
It's not a normal thing.
Yeah. So I'm in Toastmasters one day, and I'm doing this speech in Toastmasters in the manual where I have to talk about myself.
Wow.
And it's in the manual speech of this Toastmasters group, right? And so I'm confronted in my life. I'm confronted of how do I share about my life? Because I want to keep my secrets, right? And I'm in this room totally confronted. And not realizing that to let people in. People know who is Darren Jacklin. Let them connect with me because we're human beings. And we need human interaction and human connection. And so I was terrified and that was a turning point because Sue Urquhart said one day, I believe we have a chance to mentor and train and develop a world-class speaker. And at that moment, she believed more in me than I believed in myself.
Wow.
And that was a turning point in my life.
Wow.
That I knew at that moment I was unique, I was special, I was different, but there was something that somebody saw in me that I didn't see in myself.
Wow. And I guess the confidence, because I mean, if you ever meet Darren in person, I mean, this guy, he's the most confident person. And it must have started there, just building that up and getting in front of the people and sharing your story. So I got a really powerful question for you. Remember those guys that screwed you over at the beginning? Have you forgiven them?
Absolutely, for sure. Well, in fact, because what it is, I've been screwed over a few times in an interview, but the thing is, what happens is that, people come into your life as an opportunity to teach you things, right? As a warning or as an example.
That's right.
And I'm blessed with gratitude that when people come into my life, rather than make them wrong and play the role of the victim, I look at, what did these people teach me?
Absolutely.
Right? What was the blessing in disguise?
Yeah.
And so absolutely. It's the best training development you can get is when somebody screws you over, doesn't pay you, or takes advantage of you. Because, and here's something I've learned, that when a person with money meets a person with experience, the person with the experience ends up with the money. And I know that from experience. I've lost a lot of money to that. I had the money, I met somebody with experience, and they ended up with the money.
Wow. That's great. Oh man, you got like a whole book, your own one-liners. It's just so good. Oh my God.
I've also learned too by going to court and being involved in lawsuits where, years ago when I, was co-signing these loans, I remember going to the courthouse one day and I was in court one day on this thing where I owed the bank money from a co-signed loan and I had no paperwork. I had no documentation.
Oh my gosh.
And I co-signed these loans and I'm in court one day and the judge says to me, he says, young fella, come up here. So he takes a recess and, he took a real liking to me during the recess, I guess kind of like a son or a grandson to him or somebody he could just influence. And he said, listen, he said, I want you to remember this going forward in your life, young fella. Call me young fella. He said, if it has not been written, it has not been said in a court of law. If it has not been written, it has not been said. And so when people ask me all the time, I'm setting up a business deal, or I'm in the music business, or I'm in real estate, and I've got this joint venture partner, and I want to go in and buy a real estate investment thing, and we've got a verbal agreement, or I'm getting in the music business, and I got this guy who's going to promote me as an agent, and it's all verbal agreement.
Yeah, handshakes.
If it has not been written, it has not been said. Right? And so you've got to paper it up. You've got to get papered up and document things and make things agreements,
Absolutely.
And whether they're memorandums of understanding. So it's been a lesson, because I've done things in the past where they're verbal and people have a bad memory, they forget, and things like that, and things happen, right?
Wow.
So you got to document.
Absolutely. That is huge. So, just to kind of wrap things up, because this is awesome. If there were, some key people that you would look up to or aspire to,
Sure.
are there some key inspirational figures that you've sort of role modeled yourself after?
Absolutely. The person who's had the greatest influence in my life, who's alive today on the planet, is Dr. John Demartini.
Okay. Wow.
He is the most influential person. You can do some research on him online, but Dr. John Demartini.
Mm-hmm.
And you put him on your must-meet list, somebody you want to meet in your life, but Dr. John Demartini. He is the most, out of all the people I've ever met in my entire life, he's the most influential person on the planet I've ever met.
Wow. That's huge. Awesome. Now, if there's, just to wrap this up, I guess, is there any last few bits of advice for overcoming adversity that you'd like to give the viewers?
Sure. You're going to go through peaks and valleys, just like myself, right? You're either coming from a problem, you're in a problem, or you're heading towards a problem. And life is peaks and valleys. And the thing is that no matter what you do, if you want to become more successful this year, you've got to double your rate of failure. And the key thing is go out there like a child and play games. Children love to play games, right? And you ever notice children, when they go out and play a game, if they lose the game or they win the game, it doesn't matter. They just want to get back up and go play the game again. And so in life, go out and create games in your life and realize that success is part of the equation, and so is failure, making mistakes. But failure is just feedback.
Yeah.
And if you're a perfectionist, you want to get things right, guess what? You're not going to get things right all the time. You're going to get stuck in analysis paralysis, analyzing to that degree. You got to just go out there and just take it one step at a time to keep moving forward, making measurable progress. And guess what? Hopefully you'll get to the target of where you want to be in your life. And also invite people around you. What I learned early on in my life was I did so much by myself.
Yeah.
So much by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Big mistake, big lesson I learned was now I don't do things by myself, I involve other people.
Yeah.
I create a dream team of like-minded people.
That's right. Awesome. Now, you've written, authored some books. Maybe you could just
Sure.
give a little bit about
Yeah, I think what I'm really passionate about right now is a couple educational audio programs we've created. One is called 101 Ways Your Kids Can Make Money. I was a little kid who was very curious about life. I did multiple interviews with many kids from ages 6 to 18 years of age around North America and internationally. And these kids, with permission from the parents and the guardians, we interviewed these kids on how they do little businesses after school, in the evenings, on the weekends, during summer holidays. And these are life skills like sales, marketing, negotiations, building self-confidence, self-esteem, mentoring, coaching. And it's a good training development program. It's an 11 educational audio CD program where it educates kids, because I'm interviewing other like-minded kids. So it's the kids that I'm interviewing, mentoring, and training other children.
Wow.
Because kids will listen. If I'm 8, I'll listen to another 7 or 8 or 9-year-old.
Yeah.
But they always listen to an adult with their parents.
That's right.
So there's that program. Another program is called Transform Obstacles into Cash Flow. It's an educational training development program you listen to while you're driving to work or down the highway or freeway. And it trains and develops you through a series of multiple interviews. I interview people in my network and my Rolodex on how you can transform obstacles into cash flow. And actually, this year I've launched now Transform My Obstacles into Cash Flow. It's a 2-day transformational course. And why I say transformational is because we have an informative learning where you go and you sit and you live in your head and you learn things, you memorize things. Transformative learning is where we take you and we put you in action. You're in action on the field, on the ice, on the court, through a whole bunch of experiential learning processes. And so we show you how to transform your obstacles into cash flow. And the purpose of that is to show you how to create ideas, opportunities, business, because when you do better and you take care of yourself in terms of self-care and well-being, then you can take care of a lot more other people.
Absolutely.
And so we show people how to transform their obstacles into cash flow by going from linear to nonlinear thinking, but then also how to apply it into the world in terms of the areas of performance. So a lot of people have great ideas, but they don't put it on the court and actually make it perform. And so we take ideas in the training development program, put it on the court within 2 days, high-level training and development. I have a team of people that come in with me to facilitate with me, and we put you on the court in the game, and we get results.
Boom.
In real time, we make things happen. Because that's what it is. At the end of the day, what's your performance indicators? What's your measurements that you got?
That's right.
It's reasons or results.
Holy moly. That is awesome. Listen, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for the interview.
Absolutely.
And it's been a real pleasure, real treat. It's always just so good talking to you, Darren. So thank you for taking the time for this. And I'll see you guys on the inside.
Look forward to meeting every one of you soon.